Okay, call is being recorded. So yes, one of the things we do here in Startup Grind, there are literally a lot of opportunities, and even from our HQ, our HQ is in Silicon Valley. So being a part of community also gives you that exposure to some level. Of course, you already have the exposure, but yeah, you have access to like extra network and collaborative efforts. Imagine you want to do a little something for the southeast, right? You want people that just like you have a community of swimmers. You want people that hey are into you know things of common minds, right? They know what you're into and they really vibe with it. So a community for founders is your go-to founder and startup relations and challenges. So AI solutions you're building for Nigerians, you need a means to test it. You need people to join your team. That's where a community like this comes in. So you get to even scan you may want to get to work with. So yeah, and welcome, welcome, Nestor. So yes, I think we can go right into it. So we have here our, amiable Ugochukwu Nwachukwu, and like we've seen, he's the founder for Kagent AI Solution, right?
Yeah.
And he's been building AI solutions for over years, working with startups in the UK and beyond for the past almost 6 years. That's really beautiful. So we're super excited to have you here with us, Chuku. So maybe you can do us the honors to go ahead and more like give us a better introduction of things I may have missed, and you can as well go on and proceed with um you know your beautiful session with us. And I also have with me here Precious Naji, one of our community members, our communications lead, and she would also be helping to be a moderator for this very special event, just in case I switch to being mobile. Right? So you can go ahead, Mr. Ogochukwu.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Very clear.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Ugochukwu Daniel Nwachukwu. I'm an AI professional. I've been in the AI space for roughly 6 years. I've built AI applications end to end. Um, Literally any AI kind of products that you can think about. I've worked on it in some sense. Um, yeah, I think that's my tech background. Everything AI basically. I currently work with a startup in the UK um, that's also expanding to Dubai for a couple of reasons. Um, and we're currently focused on building an AI system that is supposed to help in the real estate industry in the UK and across board, really, across different countries and continents. Um, Outside of work, I love music. I play the piano, and I love to swim. I had earlier mentioned to Henry that I also founded, quote unquote, a swimming community that has about 100 people, 100 swimmers essentially, uh, as we speak, and then it's on the way to 1,000 by the end of the year. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. That's my tech background. I've had the opportunity to lecture in Unilag or co-lecture in Unilag. That's also something on my resume. Um, worked with different startups, built different applications, different projects. Um, yeah, and aside work, I've also mentioned what I do outside of work, even though that's also work for me too. Uh, just because of the seriousness and the mind behind those things and the value that they basically prefer uh, for people in Nigeria. It's a way to give back to the society. So yeah, that's pretty much that about me. Um, I just go ahead to do I just crack on into the talk proper? Is
Yeah, yeah, that's super exciting. Much Ugochukwu.
okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes, yes, I
me?
can hear you.
Yeah. Even the
Yeah,
real
I can hear
estate
you.
in that is really buzzing. I know I've been seeing a lot of expensive and exclusive real estate, like the one Bugatti is doing, and a couple other places. So yeah, I
Ah,
think Dubai is like HQ for real estate now, and very senior kind of real estate kind of things. But it's nice if there's a fantastic ambition to move into UAE. So yes, well done. So yeah, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Now we can say we really met you at least to some level. So yes, um, if you can also do us the honor, maybe turning on your camera.
yeah.
Apologies. Precious would also turn on her camera shortly. She's setting up, but unfortunately, I might not be. I'm out of power at this point. So, yes, we'll be
Beautiful
moving.
Nigeria.
Eh, but here in Owerri, we actually do have some level of constant power, Sha. So if Lagos is disturbing you, you are free to come by.
Haha.
Back to let's
Yeah, no,
leave
I'm
Lagos
immune
for
to the power issues.
rewatch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm immune to the power issues.
That's great. So yes, our theme again says the future of AI startups in Africa. And we've heard this beautiful you know introduction from Ugochukwu. He's been doing a lot of things for UK, and will be even moving to continue with in Dubai and the UAE, which is really a very fantastic resume. And he still has that love and interest in really helping and ensuring things works in our beautiful country Nigeria. And so that's one of the reasons for even this topic. What's the future of startups and AI in Africa, especially Nigeria? So you're very much welcome once again, Ugochukwu. And I think you can go ahead and you know
Turn on my
teach us.
camera.
We are
Okay,
all ears.
go ahead. Okay, so this is me turning on my camera. Okay, can you see me?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can go ahead.
Okay, just in case I look very stressed, we had a swimming event today, so just got back from that. Okay, so
That's
yeah, so nice, very very nice to be here with everybody. Super honored to be given the opportunity to be speaking with everybody who gets to listen to this and watch this, um, and be in a position where I share my ideas and a couple of things I think are going to be valuable to individuals and the country as a whole. Um, yeah, I'll just dive right in. So the topic is, or the theme is, the future of AI and startups in Nigeria. First of all, with my introduction, I think that gives some kind of credence, some level of credence to the fact that I understand the AI ecosystem in Nigeria. I have very good in-depth knowledge I've worked with a couple of people in Nigeria, and I've worked with people outside Nigeria in this space. I currently maintain different networks and relationships around, the AI space. So that gives me some level of authority to speak something that might be of value to everybody. So I'll just go ahead to one of the first things I'm going to say is we all know that AI is now it's a buzzword. A couple of years ago, it wasn't a buzzword, but some of us saw the potential that it had. Some of us saw the uh, the very value that it could deliver to the society or to the globe, really, and then uh, our immediate society. And so that's how we got into, we got into AI. Um, Before now, we had pain points. Like I said, it's going to be focused in Nigeria. We had a particular pain point that we had is fraud detection. So there was a time where there were a lot of chargebacks, right? It was easy to defraud systems, online payment systems. And so this was one of the very first implementations of AI mainstream in Nigeria. AI was used, deep learning, machine learning and deep learning was used, to be able to detect fraud, to be able to detect malicious transactions very easily, very quickly, as opposed to if you had used traditional methods, or if you had to, manually check um, thousands and thousands of records. AI has essentially solved that problem very quickly, and it was sort of like the entrance, one of the first very huge use case of AI that basically showed us the potential, of what AI could do. Um, there is massive potential in AI, massive potential. The AI market is projected to get to about $16.5 billion. Currently, it's about 4.5 billion dollars as of today. It's projected to get to about $16.4 billion, $0.5 billion. And it is about 2.5% of the global world's um, uh, we could say market, the 2.5% of the global world's AI market. Um, that's what Africa has as at now. So the point is that the potential is major, like it's really major. Of course, there are a couple of bottlenecks, a couple of challenges, well, a lot of challenges that could actually prevent, the diffusion of AI. And we'll touch on a couple of them just so that it helps. So what I'm trying to achieve is I want to give a broad perspective of AI. Then we're going to try and hone in on specific use cases that I think, and specific industries that I think from research and from experience are going to be extremely valuable if you can tap into any of this current, if you will. The potential and the benefits, it's massive, right? It's massive. There's a lot to be done. So my talk today is going to be is sevenfold. The first is we're going to talk about the untapped potential. We already dabbled into that a little bit. We're going to talk about AI infrastructure. We're going to talk about local innovation. We're going to talk about applications. We're going to talk about funding, scalability. We're going to talk about jobs and transition, and then we're going to probably just talk about a call to action. Now, the talk again, I'm aware that, or I prepared this talk with three people in mind. Um, the first is uh, the tech gurus, right? The people who actually build applications. The second is investors, investors, and then the last set of people are policymakers. So if at any point in time this gets to, get to their hands, there are a couple of things here that could help um, the AI ecosystem from their perspective. So I'll just go into AI infrastructure. Now, AI is threefold. Yeah, it is input, processing, and then output. Input is in the input space. We have data sets, data essentially. Um, we have uh, uh, processing of that data. Now, of course, we could break that data down, especially in the context of Nigeria, but let's just leave it as the data is the input. Processing is the compute that's supposed to be used, to manage or bring out value from the data, and the output is applications that people get to use, on a daily basis. Um, so let's just start with um, I'm pretty sure that we all know that data is a problem, or data management, data construction, um, data structure really is, in my opinion, one of the biggest issues that Africa has as of today. Aside AI, we don't have a data management. We don't have good data. We don't keep data. We don't know how to structure data, and we don't know how to use data. We're not a data-driven society, essentially. That's a major bottleneck. So if at any point in time, anybody is able to build any solution around data management, you essentially would move AI in Africa, Nigeria, and by extension Africa, um, a lot further than if you probably had built any other tool, maybe build an application. Why? Because that's like the foundation that every other application would depend on. I'll give an example. In 2019, we wanted to, if you notice, uh, one of the features that was released by ChatGPT is the ability to create images, probably, or gimlis. They're called gimlis, cartoon representation of your image, of your face, or whatever. Um, if you notice, when you put in a Nigerian face or an African face or a black person, it doesn't get the face as well as if it would have gotten maybe a white Caucasian person, or even an Asian person. The reason why we have that problem, most people haven't noticed, but the reason why we have that problem is because we don't have enough African faces, black faces, represented in the data that is used to train these models, these visual models. Um, and there's a huge deficit, especially in the visual, in computer vision. There's a huge deficit for structured collated AI, structured collated faces of people in Africa here. It was a project that we wanted to embark on while I was in Unilag, where we basically go around Africa, and then we take people's faces, properly label those faces, and sort of like build out an African data set of human of our colored people, essentially. But needless to say, that didn't take off as we wanted it to take off. But we don't have that kind of represented data in the world. So that's a problem. That's a foundational problem that could be solved. Um, but to even solve that, it's not a problem that could be solved by an individual. It's a problem that the government will need to get into, because it needs to be funded massively, because you're going to have to move professionals all across Africa. The travel expense, these people have to be trained and skilled. They probably have to be able to speak the local languages of the people. I mean, if you're going to Swahili or you're going to a village that they probably don't have network in Africa, you want to take pictures of them, you need to understand their language. So that's massive training just to be able to speak the language of people, just to gather that data. So we don't have that. We don't have that. Uh, uh, we don't have that government backing, government funding. Even the grants are not. They're not. Uh, the word isn't enough, but they're not. Yeah, they're not enough, such that you have to compete to get grants, right? But these things are supposed to be givens. I mean, you can't build any AI system if there's no data, if there's no inputs, essentially. So yeah, if there are policymakers that get to listen to this, and people in the government, this is an area that Nigeria currently needs. It would fast track the AI economy, right? For Africans, it will give us a more represent. It will give us more representation in the world as at today. So we won't have to rely on, models that are built um, shabbily for Africans or for Black people. Um, I'll probably touch on this a little bit more, or okay, to give more. There has been some good positive things have been happening. I mean, if I was on a call yesterday, had a conversation yesterday with Awari, some professionals at Awari. They're part of they actually built out an AI model that is fine-tuned and understands Yoruba, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, and English, the three major languages. Of course, it's not enough, but it's a start. Um, and for them to do that, they had to have backing. They had to have um, government, uh, 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 government relaxing policies, basically. You know, for them to be able to fine tune a model like this. Um, and I think many of those kinds of products have to be built. I have friends, a couple of friends in, uh, I think it's Uganda. I forget the particular country now. It's Lambo or Vambo. Sorry, it's Vambo. If you had to check that on LinkedIn, she's a friend of mine. They are building out something similar, but AI models that understand their indigenous languages in their country there. And I think that's one of the things that Africa needs, to for diffusion, for AI diffusion. Imagine if you were talking to, imagine an AI system, you build an AI application that was supposed to be used by everybody in maybe sub-Saharan Africa, and it can speak the language of those people. Some people don't even English is not the natural, is not the it's not the first language, official language of some countries in Africa. Some people don't even some people maybe above the age of 30, 40 and above can't speak English. So and they're basically marginalized in any AI product that's been built currently. If you're able to build models that can interact with them, imagine a ChatGPT that can speak their language. Just imagine the impact that would have on your product, your bottom line, and in the ecosystem, as it were. So that's that about data. I've mentioned a couple of things I think anybody could pick from to explore and get some value from. In terms of AI infrastructure in Nigeria and Africa, there's been some improvements, not enough, but some improvements. If you were to research, you would find that in South Africa, in Nigeria, in Kenya, and a couple of other countries, data centers are being established, are being built. Um, Data centers are essentially their computes, right? Compute is, think of it as a think of a compute as basically a computer, basically a computer GPUs that can power interactions, that can power um, that can power interactions, that can power AI use, right? These models need to be they need to do their processing, and they do their processing on GPUs. And GPUs are quite expensive. That's why you find things like Elon setting up a whole data factory in Texas, to power the whole of the XAI fleet. You find the recent projects that OpenAI is dabbling into with NVIDIA to build out the biggest AI 10 gigawatt factory for AI compute. It is everything runs on compute. If you have data and you don't have the compute, you can't really produce anything. And if the compute is quite far from your location. So, for example, when we use ChatGPT, we're using the computer that is established in the US. computers that have been built in the US. If that what that means is that there is some latency that is being produced. That's one. Two is if you're using provisioned servers or GPU servers um, on AWS, quote unquote, you're going to have to pay more. If they were in your location or close to your location, there's lower latency, there's lower costs, um, there is lower data egress rather. So the closer your compute is to you, the cheaper AI is. The cheaper the proliferation of AI and AI systems. So that's one other takeaway. We need to have more data centers. Um, there's a recent news that Cassava Technologies plus Nvidia, they're basically establishing an AI factory in multiple countries: Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Egypt, and Morocco. But again, like I said, it has to be more. So there's opportunity there. Um, I'm just scrolling down, just a moment. Okay, so I've mentioned government initiatives. Now, you can't have mass adoption of AI, mass proliferation of AI, if you don't have a favorable climate for AI to thrive. I mean, in terms of laws, in terms of policies, um, in terms of trainings, awareness. Last week, quite interesting. Last week, a friend of mine reached out, a senior tech person reached out, and he told me, he said, you know what, this particular local government wants to train the individuals in that local government in AI. And it was asking me, okay, how do we go about it? What can we do? Um, Now, that's the local government. The local government is in charge of, say, 2 million people. Well, that particular program was the target was about 5,000 people. But imagine if we had that same kind of experience across Nigeria. By the time you're done with, if the federal government were to sponsor that, by the time you're done with that experience, you probably would have a lot more people that understand AI, can use AI, are inspired and motivated to build AI products, as opposed to just one person or two people sprinkled around the country that are building AI products and everybody's wowed. Nigeria would essentially become an AI hub, an AI center, um, distributing AI systems to Africa for starters and then the world. The point again of this talk is for us to have an AI footprint or have a footprint in the AI space in Africa and in the world, the globe at large. So this is something that needs to happen. It needs to happen with policies. The government needs to push some of these things. Um, Again, because change is difficult. Most times, nobody really likes to change. Um, in 100% of people, you find that the people who actually do like to change are just probably 1%. So if Africa is going to adopt AI, it has to be by force, and nobody can force any other person unless you have authority over that person's actions and decisions, and that's the role of the government. If the government says everybody or all companies, the policy now is all companies has to make sure that their employees understand AI. Everything they do has to be infused with AI. That policy alone will cause companies to force employees to learn AI, which would also trickle down. So if employees learn AI, of course they're going to tell their dependents. So those kinds of policies, as well as giving tax cuts to maybe companies that want to build out um, data centers, AI infrastructure, major AI infrastructure projects in the country, giving them tax cuts, providing power supply. Um, uh, you know, power is a major issue in Nigeria. Um, yeah, and basically allowing them to probably uh, run for free for a period of time. Whatever agreement works, but the point is, it is a responsibility of the government to push this en masse, to push AI en masse, before we can begin to see um, the benefits of AI in the society as we would like it to be. A society that is basically run by AI. Um, But that said, I'll just move on to local innovations. Now, of course, what people are aware of today is because we really don't have any of most of these things we've talked about, which is the foundation of AI. What we do is we borrow from already made AI systems, and then we try to adapt that to our own problems the best way we can. Now, of course, there are many issues that if this stacks this point um this level of stacks, if they're not attended to as they're supposed to be, it also cuts the uh it cuts the what's the word now, uh, it reduces the impact that the AI systems that we build would have in the country. For example, um the best I can do, there's a particular product that we're building currently for the law space in Nigeria, also a way to give back to society. The best I can do is to build that system in English, right? Worst case scenario, English, Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. It can't go beyond that. We don't have, it can't talk in thief, it can't talk to a thief man, um, you can't talk to other languages, essentially Yoruba, Igbo dialects. You can't have that in the system. So it's quite limited. We can build solutions, local solutions, but it is quite limited. But yeah, I'm just going to focus a little bit on some local problems that we can solve. And then you have to think about this in a strategic way. There are certain industries that are sort of like drivers. They're pretty much very ripe for AI. Um, they're pretty much very ripe for AI. Um, and if you were to build solutions around them, it would naturally thrive. Number one is agric. Yeah, we are blessed in this part of the world with agriculture. And there are places where, if this reminds me of a project we wanted to undertake. Why we didn't do that project was basically finance. It was quite expensive to run. It essentially is giving farmers the ability um, to analyze their crops in real time or analyze their farms in real time. So what you would normally have drones do, AI powered drones, where they go over the farm and then they profile the farm, and then they could tell beforehand that, oh, there's a fire that will be the leaves are too dry, so there could be a fire outbreak at so and so time, or the humidity is not good enough. It needs to be, you maybe need to water at so and so time, or the NDVI, that's the index that determines the chlorophyll in the plants, um, isn't isn't at the particular level it's supposed to be. All that information is available to the farmer, because if you had like 2,000 hectares of land, that's a large expanse of land. For you to cover that by car, it's a whole lot. I mean, you could take 5 to 6 hours covering the 2,000 hectares of land. So it's not even practical. But if you had, so the idea was that we're supposed to beam out to the satellites, and then that beams back into the farmland, and then gives us information about the farmland. This was a project that I'm very excited about. Pretty much easy to do. It's not difficult really. But the challenge at the time was that we couldn't, for every analysis was going to cost about 500,000 naira. Now this even boils down to some of the things I mentioned earlier. Now that 500,000 naira is because the satellite isn't ours. We have to pay for the satellites. We have to pay for the analysis. We had the technical skills, or we could learn the technical skills to put all that together, but it wasn't practical to use because farmers couldn't pay for that. Um, it needed a huge capital. But if we had our own resources, we had our own infrastructure, it probably would have dropped down that price by a whole lot. So essentially, farmers have lost that innovation has been hampered just by infrastructure. But again, it's still ripe for the agri space is very ripe. If you want to help farmers know when their yield is going to play out, or you want to help monitor the animals on the farm, whatever kind of agriculture. There's a lot of things that AI could be used to do in that space. It could even be transportation within the farm. I mentioned there are people that have 2,000 hectares of farm land for their farm, and we inspected some of those farms, Ogun State. Yeah, we're pretty serious about the project. Um, if we had, if we had, uh, imagine moving produce from one side, maybe moving palm oil from one side of the farm to, to where they'll be processed. AI could be used in that space. In fact, it could even be a robotic car, right? That might look far fetched, but maybe even telling exactly when, just by looking at the plant, telling exactly when this particular fruit would ripe, giving the farmers information about, maybe if there's probably going to be a breakout, a maybe there's pests, or there's going to be a breakout of disease, just by looking at the coloration. The AI is able to detect. I'm sure you are aware that AI is able to detect better than humans, when there's going to be a disease, on a plant. So if you're able to provide that kind of information to users or to farmers, you have a business there. You're solving a problem, a pain point, and people will pay for it. Of course, there has to be there has to be awareness that's been done, a lot of awareness that's going to be done for that project to take off. A lot of the things that a lot of AI projects really has to have, because they are innovative. They don't exist before in this part of the world, so you probably would need to do a lot more um, education and a building of awareness around your product. Um, but yeah, so let me just health also, the health space. Oh, the health space is very ripe, very ripe. In fact, just a couple of days ago, a nurse, a midwife, met with me and said, "Oh, how can I build an application for my practice? I want to be able to give women information in real time about, peculiar about their own peculiar situations. Um, I want to be able to. They should be able to contact me when the AI system can't give them the exact answer they're looking for, um, and I want to be able to do all that very quickly." And I essentially walked her through how to create a website. In fact, we created a website in less than 2 minutes using AI, a valuable website. Um, and there is demand for, imagine you're talking to an AI doctor. You have mild, um, mild symptoms. You don't have to go to your doctor. You could just ask your AI that knows your history, has access to your health history, and then knows the symptoms you're currently going through, and then it uses that to puts together information, for you, that is tailored for you. And I think that's going to be valuable for everybody, really. You don't really have to go to the pharmacy. Sometimes they can be wrong, and even when you're in the pharmacy, you could basically, take pictures of the drugs and say, "Oh, tell me what this drug is. Is it good for me? Look at my own history. Would this affect me in any way? Take a look at the contents." You could have much more detailed information about the things you're doing. And this is just telemedicine. That many other things, you could use AI to sort records, medical records in the hospital. So health is very ripe uh, for for AI innovations. One of the industries is the finance industry, logistics industry. A lot of major industries are very ripe for AI. Like I mentioned, there is a sorry about that. There is I've mentioned fraud. This is like one of the oldest implementations of AI, traditional AI. Fraud, credit scoring, is this person viable for the loan? Can this person actually pay back? All that is being done using AI systems. Um, yeah, so the finance industry, logistics industry, and a couple of other industries. Um, so I do think that in Africa, what we have that the world doesn't have, what we have as our moat, our selling point, and what makes us unique is our language and our culture. If we can in some way teach AI systems our language and our culture, of course, I've mentioned the issues with data gathering, and data structuring for training. But if you can solve those problems, we can then build out AI systems that have our local contexts, right, and solve our local problems, our local pain points. Um, be it South Africa, be it Swahili, be it Kenyan language, Ugandan language, Ghanaian language, Nigerian languages, um, AI that can teach Nigerian recipes, for example. Oh, that would be fun. That's a fantastic idea, actually. That just occurred to me. Or an AI chef, Nigerian chef, that can teach you how to make, maybe for diasporians when they're living in Nigeria and they want to know how, when the mom, the lady will call her mom, "Mommy, how do I make egusi soup? I'm in Canada. I didn't learn it, I've forgotten it, whatever." They could just ask an AI system that understands how to actually make egusi soup, or can make oha soup, or make, those indigenous ewedu. I think that's a very good, um, you're solving a problem for your for people, a real problem for people, and they will pay for that. ChatGPT now might not understand the nuances of egusi soup. Like, what is egusi soup? It can piece a few things in the internet, but it doesn't understand the ingredient X that your mother will put, into the soup, at the right time, at what time, all that. Um, yeah, so I think those are some spaces. Some spaces I think that AI, there are problems there that AI can solve. Then I think one of the major issues that I personally have observed through the years is talent and ecosystem. In fact, I think talent is the most important, is the biggest problem. After infrastructure, talent is, it seems like it's readily rampant, but it's very, very limited. Quality talent, apart from for having the right values, I find that because we are from, for lack of a better word, we're from a broken system. Our thought process, permit me to say, is broken. Yeah, we don't know how to think through problems. We just would rule to the answer, for lack of a better word. We just try and put things together. Oh, I just want to make money very quickly. I want to build a product. But really, and we've heard things like, move fast and break things, then you fix them later. We've heard things like, uh, just just put it together, let it work, let it be a success. But you find that if you look at statistics, actually, less than 60% of businesses, startups that start today, make it past 5 years. About less than 60% of that 60% actually make it big to 10 years. So by the time you find out, if there are 100 companies that started today, only about five out of those companies will exist, in 10 years' time. That's a major problem. It means that there's some, and this is global statistics. That figure is even much more smaller in Africa, in Nigeria and Africa. The reason why is because of the way that we build, the way we understand building. You're not supposed to just go ahead and build. You're supposed to do very detailed planning, very detailed research. You need to understand step by. We don't think ahead. We don't think what happens when this happen, when this happen. It's a tough process to think, and we don't even think from first principles. All right. That's something that Elon has made quite popular, and it's something that is quite difficult to learn. Thinking from first principles, not essentially defaulting to analogies, but you're able to break down systems to um, the most fundamental bits, and then build from there. Um, that's something that you don't find a lot in this part of the world. And I think people need to learn to do that a whole lot. You need to, we need to learn how to build systems. You need to understand system thinking. So even as techies and as tech talents, I think it's worth it, well worth it, to take some time to go and learn how to build systems. So you're not building, the mindset is you're not building systems that succeed, you're building systems that do not fail. It's a completely those are two different dynamics. Um, Building a system that succeeds is, oh, let's just get it to work once, right? Let's just put it together, let it work once. Building a system that does not fail is you're building it in such a way that you're envisaging, you're thinking about everything that could go wrong in the future, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time. How do we label the data so that at the end of the day, you're not putting out fires, as time goes on, such that you start the company with so much speed, you start the startup with so much speed, but by the time you're getting to year one, year two, in fact, after year one, you've built it with so much problems that now you're focused on solving those problems and then you're not moving forward. And then before you know it, because there's no new value you're adding to the customer, your competitor comes and then takes over the market and then you go under. I'll give you an example of this. Um, we built out a system called Resume Guru. Now, Resume Guru was supposed to help people analyze their resume. We did this when people were not thinking about it, and we made quite some money from it. But as we wanted to start adding new features to Resume Guru, we found that Resume Guru uses AI to analyze your resume, provides a cover letter. So you essentially can go through the application process if you're looking for a job in what would have taken you 2 hours, will probably shrink that down to about 5 minutes. All right, because AI system was quite trusted, but it could do the job. It could do this job. But as we wanted to increase, we're getting the volume of users was increasing. We had about 1,000 to 3,000 users. We had paying clients, but we found that as we tried to make more improvements, this would break, and then you're trying to fix this, and then this would break. It was because we didn't think of building a system in such a way that it can scale to 3,000 people, 5,000 people from the beginning. And it's not even just thinking, we didn't have, it's a skill set that you really have to sit down and learn. And I think that's one, as we build startups, if you're anything you're taking away from this talk, is that even if you want to build a startup, you have to build a startup in such a way that you're thinking, what are the possible ways this thing can fail? What is the known knowns? What's your known knowns? What are your known unknowns? And then what are your unknowns? What's your blind spot? It's a different way of thinking about problems that could give you, it would take a little bit more time for you to start, just a little bit more time. But you find that as time goes on, you're going faster because the system, the foundation is strong. So you could go faster. You're not putting out fires. You could add more features as time goes on. Um, I think this is learned from education and experience, and leveraging the knowledge of people ahead of you. Now, sorry about that. Now I default. It's not about what you know, it's about leveraging more intelligent, more successful people in the field. So, for example, you want to build out a product, go and ask other people that have built out that product, how did they build out the product? What are the challenges they face? That question and answer session is going to save you a whole lot of problems building out your own solution. Go on the internet if you want to build out something for Nigeria. Um, your idea most times is not exactly a new idea. Find people on the internet that build something similar and ask, oh, please, is there something? How did you build it? And what was the challenges? How do you surmount those challenges? I'm trying to do this in Nigeria. This is the context. You explain the Nigerian context. What do you think I can do? How do you think I can approach it? Approach is more important than even the doing. All right. Um, yeah, so I think leveraging that knowledge will give you massive advantage, give you a massive push, as you go on in building out whatever solution you're building out. So, um, yeah, that said, I think I'll move on to, sorry about this. Yeah, so I think I've talked a little bit about uh, implementation and applications. There's a whole lot to talk about there. Like I said, mentorship, leveraging experts, find them online. We don't have a lot in this part of the world, so you most likely will have to have a lot of conversations. Go on foreign platforms, and I find this it's quite interesting to me when I see Nigerians that don't know so much, and you're telling them, "S- see, you have to go online and speak with people who are way ahead of you. Just that conversation could save you 3 months of work. Just one conversation. And I'm talking from experience. One conversation could save you a whole 1 year of wasted work. It's not about saying you're building something. It's about the results, the sustainable results of that thing, and it's by knowledge and skill. Um, yeah, I think I mentioned a couple of these things. I could read out some statistics. I did mention agriculture, crop disease, image analysis, yield prediction. I mentioned a couple of those things. In fintech, I mentioned uh, um, what you call it now, fraud detection, a couple of those things, healthcare diagnosis. Um, I also mentioned logistics. Uh, so in terms of getting capital, the way I think about building products, yeah, or building a solution rather, is you build out a solution with for one person to use, right? But you build out a solution in such a way that you know that um, it's going to be used by 10,000 people. You're building out for one person, but whatever updates you're making, it's going to be used by 10,000 people. So you don't make things quite specific to that person. The reason why you need that one person is because you need someone who can use your products and give you feedback, and then you can make improvements on your product, quick improvements on your product, and then from 1 to 2 get 3 people, 4 people, 10 people, 30 people, and then you're constantly getting feedback. And because you build on the right principles and using the right foundation, you can easily quickly make changes and then ship that change to the user. But like I said again, you have to spend more time planning, more time thinking, um, and make sure that you're building the right thing, because sometimes you're building the wrong thing, or you're building the right thing in the right way. Sometimes you're building the right thing in the wrong way. Um, yeah. So uh, let me see. And I think if you build out a product that has market fit and it has that value, it'll be quite easy for you to generate capital. All you need to do is probably reach out to a few uh, VCs, venture capitals, and then share, some of your metrics. You might need to bootstrap at the beginning. Thank God, AI is pretty accessible now. You could use open source models. You could use edge models. That's models that run on locally on phones, mobile devices, uh, and without the internet. They're pretty much cheap. You could even build workflows, very quick workflows, to test out an idea. But once you have that back and forth data validation and those metrics, if you can reach out to VCs and show this record, it's going to be, especially when it's AI powered or AI tagged, it's going to be quite easy for you to to pull finance um, for whatever you're doing, pull capital if you need to. Sometimes you might not need to. Sometimes the product doesn't need any capital. All it needs is validation, people paying for that product, and then it can sustain itself. Um, yeah, I think in closing, sorry, in closing, I would say that there is massive um, loss of jobs that is coming. It won't. It might not hit Africa as much as it will hit the other parts of the world, just because Africa is quite backward. So a lot of things we do are manual. We don't even have systems that AI can thrive in. Um, but about 92 million jobs are projected. 92 million jobs are projected to be lost by 2030. That's a whole lot of jobs. And then, of course, more jobs are going to be created, but I don't think it'll be the um, same amount of jobs. And so I would say that we have shifted from an economy that is, there's a time it was a knowledge-based society. Now we're in a solutions-based society. I would also encourage us to learn a little bit about AI agents. Not a little bit, a whole lot about AI agents. how to leverage AI agents, what they are, MCPs, what are they, how do you build out very quick automation, AI automation systems that have been well thought out, to solve problems and then deploy that. I give you an example. You can build very simple RAG systems, to help people answer questions. You could do that for companies. You could do that for your own product. You could do that for example, like I mentioned, I manage a swimming community. If you wanted a bot that basically helps answer people's questions on the platform, around, probably take a look at my form in swimming. How can I do better? Um, to actually design a bot that can look at people's videos and then give information, or look at, uh, or people can ask questions, text questions, natural language questions, and in response in the context of swimming. That could take me less than 3 hours to do, but the value of that is quite impactful. The reason why is because I know how to build workflows. I understand what AI agents are. They're pretty powerful. That means they could solve problems. You just need to identify the right problems, and then to deploy those solutions are pretty easy to do. There are tools like Anyten, um, ChatGPT, and all the features of ChatGPT. You could use AI Studio, Google's AI Studio, to build web applications, websites in less than 2 minutes. You could have interactions and then fine tune that platform or that website. All that exists today. But again, like I said, you have to think through problems properly, so you know you're solving the right problems. I am not solving problems that are redundant. That somebody pays for a problem does not mean that sometimes it is the right problem to solve. Um, you also have to consider market size. How many people would this be valuable to? What demographic would this be valuable to? How do I channel, these products to be used by, you know, these these people? Um, what back and forth, what loop can I have? For example, like I said, we're building out a product that's supposed to be used in the law space. Now we're building out that product, but we could easily build it out and ship it to users, but we're going to build it out and then get law professionals to use the product and then give us feedback so we can fine tune and improve it. Because again, it's supposed to act like a some kind of authority figure in the law space. If you're bringing that kind of products, then you need to have domain expertise. The products that are gonna thrive in today's world are products that are quite niched. They are quite tailored to solving particular problems that a ChatGPT can do, that a Google Gemini can do, a generic a bot can do. Niche problems. So that's where I would say, in if you look at these industries we've talked about before now, earlier, um, you want to look at niche problems that have our local context. Those are the problems that people, ChatGPT can solve and people will pay for. Um, Even looking at our DNA, we don't have well documented DNA sequence for Africans. They do in the world, but we don't have for Africans. If you can prepare that, you could sell that for billions, millions of dollars, and billions. I'm not kidding you, because it's very valuable. Um, it helps in creation of drugs. It helps in, um, uh, knowing the right prescriptions to give to Africans. For example, when COVID hit, for them to give us for them to ship down the right vaccines for Africans, we have a different DNA structure, mildly different. So it will react differently from how Caucasians would, from how Asians would. But if they had built those drugs specifically for Africans, you'll have a different result. Um, but this is not to say that I of course I know COVID is a hoax. It was just common cold. Um, but I just use that to bring out a point. Um, yeah, sometimes the drugs that we ship from outside the world are not drugs that are built for Africans. They're drugs that are just built for Caucasians, and then we are managing those drugs. Um, so yeah, I would have loved to probably just ask one or two questions. Is anybody building anything? What are they building if they are? But if that isn't uh, going to happen, then I'm open to questions. Aside that, I think I'm pretty much done with sharing some of my ideas with this beautiful forum, or on this beautiful forum. So yeah, thank you so much, King Harry, for having me. Yeah,
I'm looking for clapping emoji. You can hear me, right?
yeah, yeah,
Thank you so much. This is really, flawless conversation. And I really, really did learn so much. I really did learn so much. I love even and you actually spoke a lot of truth. First of all, you said COVID is a hoax. This is another thing people want to argue about, and you just leave them. And you still mentioned a lot of jobs will be lost. When you tell people that AI is really going to take away jobs, people think it's a joke. And another exciting part about it not really hitting Africa that much is also because like we are kind of like multitaskers. You see somebody that's maybe a graphics designer in an organization. He's also the content creator, photographer, videographer. But there, somebody writing content is separate from somebody that will review the content, from somebody that will draft the video script, and
yeah,
all those persons are being, paid. So of
yeah,
course, AI would end up handling everything, and they might just put one or two persons to supervise, and then
yeah,
six, seven persons have lost their job.
yeah,
So I think I personally believe this part is also one of the reasons because African employers already you're doing a lot. So AI will even help you reduce your workspace, although some employers will not add more more workload to the person. So it's really a fantastic session. Thank you so very much. So I don't know, you asked a question like who is building something, what are you building? And so if you have anything to share about maybe you have an idea you like to build with AI and all of that. And yes, you mentioned we should actually learn AI agents. I think I'm too old for that now. I feel I'm doing a lot already. There's even I learned a lot about AI agents and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Having a hub and there's even an agro company I'm trying to do having an AI agent that can really help handle all of these things would have really, you know, been a lot. So, Precious, I want you to handle this session. You can just take over from here. People are asking, our speaker asks, what are you building? So, um, um, after which you receive that, then you can also handle the Q&A session. That is, participants having questions for our speaker. So yes, go ahead, Precious.
Okay, thank you. Please can anyone hear me?
yeah.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Ugochukwu, for that wonderful section. So this is the Q&A section. I don't know if anyone have a question or if anyone is building something so that we can take the question.
So yeah,
Do you have any
first is to
question?
share. First is to share what you are building. Like Kayode dropped in the chat that he's not building anything. And yes, it's fine. If you're not building anything, it's nice to be a part of um, anybody building something big and exciting. Precious, I think your background is very noisy.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you. Your background is noisy. Can you mute a bit? So yes, I would assume people don't have what they're building for now. So hopefully those that watch the recorded would actually maybe get to drop comments or reach out to the community with their issues or contributions. I would always forward to the speaker. So yeah, even I on the other hand, kind of like um not really. I have a couple startup idea, like tech startup ideas, but leading communities and work and really doesn't give one much time available to say you want to do some of these things. And wanting to put together a team that would really get to work on ideas together is another uneasy thing. First of all, the talent pool down here is not really as dense and proficient and solid and hungry as that you would see from the western part. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm just more like focused on doing a normal business. Like I'd set up a hub in Port Harcourt and trying to also set up a food brand here in the east. Mainly because just like you saw how the deep states were able to manipulate through COVID, there is also a lot of food poisoning going on, a systematic food poisoning going on,
yeah,
and it's one of my intention to fight that. So we have a farm. So it's called Ize Farms, Ize Farms. So we have some social
okay.
media accounts. It's pretty much not up yet because I'm still trying to set out all the structure. The uneasy part of being a physical business or a normal business is it seems to be, or a company seems to be capital intensive. Like I was reaching out to the kind of machineries I want to use. Like I'm from Ohanje Bema here in Imo State, and Ohanje Bema has one of the very best Gary in, like, I would say, the entire Nigeria. I'll probably say that, Sha. So getting a kind of there's a machine I was contracting the manufacturers from China that can produce about 8 tons of Gary daily.
Mm,
Complete Gary processing line from washing to peeling to cutting to grinding to frying everything. I
yeah,
think it was around $81,000 for that entire line. So
okay,
the next way is to go local. I'm going local. I've been looking for a suitable land to lease. And I think the main thing that all this drives into is actually having people that you could actually build with. That's really another stress because everybody is busy, and even you yourself, you are busy. You cannot just, okay, let me leave this and be going to the village to, because the next
okay,
alternative would have to be to go to the village because
yeah,
that's where these things are coming from. But aside from that, we have some processed foods like dehydrated vegetables. That way, you no longer have to waste your vegetables. Flour, natural spices, and all of that.
yeah,
And yeah, that's some of the things we're doing. And yeah, I like when you spoke about um, AI agents that we could use for agro. And yeah, I think that's something we could get to explore. Maybe as God keeps helping and pushing us.
yeah, yeah. I think that's amazing. You yourself, you're doing some amazing stuff. Quite inspiring. Uh, I think one person at a time can make a lot of impact. Um, yeah, so I'll just say, keep it up. Um, Happy to give or share ideas when I can. Um, share ideas when I can, and then push it from there.
Yeah. Thank you very much once again. So yeah, I think we'll go to the Q&A session. So Precious, you can have back the mic, and maybe if no question is asked, you can round up this session.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So I don't know if anyone have any questions. Ask their question. Please, can you hear me?
Still, yes, we can hear you, Precious. So if there are no questions, yeah, I know our speaker was kind enough to really break down everything to the barest minimum. So you can go ahead and round up the session, Precious.
Okay, I wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
So, okay, so my question is based on startups. Most startups that face this challenge or lack of funds.
You say lack of. I didn't get the question. Hello.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh God. So the question I was asking was, I said most startups they are faced with this challenge of lack of funds. They have little or no funds to have everyone like different team members who are supposed to carry out different activities, like the different roles. Now, you mentioned that about
I think she's having network issues.
oh God,
Okay,
can
so
you
you said,
hear me?
yeah, you said I mentioned what?
Using like automation, using AI for automating tasks for
Yeah,
startups.
yeah.
Yes. So now the question is, how
Okay.
do you avoid that? Like, how do you have like
How do we avoid?
I think I think she's talking about those AI agents and automation systems might be expensive. Like somebody might be paying staff to do a work.
Yeah. So
Let's
how do
say
you leverage
you're
AI
spending
systems
exactly. You could be spending
out
monthly
of cost?
$100,
Yeah.
and one AI system would cost $15,000. So it appears that it's in the long run it would be profitable for you, not immediately. So I think that's like a question.
Okay. So well now more than ever, their AI tools are getting cheaper by the minute. In fact, like I mentioned, you could the lady who I spoke to a couple of days ago that wanted to be the website, the midwife. When she reached out to somebody, the person said 150, 170 something thousand, about 174,000 naira to create the website for her. Of course, if I were to create that website, it would be nothing less than well, she couldn't pay me to build the site. Um, I don't think a salary for a year could pay for me to build that site. My point is, the more the more skilled you the more skilled work you need to build out anything, um, the more expensive it is, especially when it's humans. But right there and then, we sat down. I got my laptop out, and we built out a site that was relatively good. Of course, what I did was I showed her how to do it. I did it for her and then showed her how to do it. Then I told her, okay, you know what, go home, sit down, and then customize the site. And she basically customized the site using just by talking to the website. Oh, I want it to have this. Oh, I want it to have this. Oh, can you move this button here? And just by that, she didn't have to pay 170,000, 74,000 naira. She didn't even have to pay me to build it. She didn't have to pay anybody. So she has essentially cut down the cost and speed of development um, by is by beyond 1,000. So the point is that there are AI tools now that are free, and then they're pretty capable. You just need to know the right tool to use for whatever you want to do. If you want to build out AI agents that can act as maybe somebody who sends an email on your behalf, somebody who creates content on your behalf, an AI agent can do those things. Maybe visual content, maybe text content, maybe creating websites or anything that involves coding. You can basically do all of this. You could assemble AI agents really for free. Just people just don't know how to. But you could assemble AI agents as fast whatever you need to do is online. You can assemble AI agents to do those things for you. Um, And even if you don't know how to assemble, all you need to do is just go to ChatGPT and ask, how do I create this? How do I think about creating this, considering that this is the outcome I want? These are the people that are going to use the product. It's for so and so. Give as much context as you can, and then ask, how do you think I should go about this? Um, are there AI agents or AI tools that I can leverage that will make this cheaper for me and faster for me? And then you get a whole lot of information from that, and then you could use or leverage those tools to build out whatever you want, essentially. So I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much.
But
Even
what
this site, okay, this site you spoke about, please, I would like to know about it too. Let me see. Let me see if I will use it for a couple of my projects. So maybe, um, okay, even Nestor is asking this question now on the chat. He said, can you give us examples of some of these tools that are free
Yeah.
that
So
we
just go
can use to
to
build AI agents
yeah,
or automate workflows?
yeah. So it depends on what you want to do, right? Just go to Google aistudio.com, or just go to Google, just type Google AI Studio. There are a couple of tools there that you can use. Go to ChatGPT has a lot of integrations. Now you can even create presentations. You can use if you want to research a particular startup idea, just go to ChatGPT and tell it to do deep research for you. And funny enough, as a free user, you can get that deep research. It goes ahead to do that research for you. Grok also does the same thing too. You can use Grok for fast, get deep research, and then ask, okay, how do I create a website, or what should the website
So what's
contain?
the plan now? I don't want you to be hungry. How much will it cost so that this?
How much will it cost?
So sorry. So sorry. Don't worry. Go ahead. We are talking about free tools. Sorry.
Yes. So AI Studio is for free. ChatGPT is for free. Grok is for free. You can use their free tiers. Um, yeah. But okay, so some you might need to pay for ChatGPT if you're going to do anything beyond um yes, there's N10 also. If you're going to do anything beyond um, deep research and some of the free things that are provided in ChatGPT, you might need to pay to become a plus user. Anything is for automations. So if you want to pull together, you can just do research on it. If you want to pull together, so you want to be able to receive your email, you want an AI system to receive your email, respond to your make.com also. Yeah, that's also good. Um, uh, okay, I was just reading the questions here. Um, I prefer make.com is fantastic actually, and they're very easy to use. There's also Zapier. Some people pronounce it as Zapier. Um, You can use these automation tools, and then pull together whatever solution you want to build for yourself. For example, me, I want to, at the end of the day, so I take notes of the things that happen at the end of the day, during the day. I take notes in 2 hour blocks or 2 hour intervals during the day. And I want at the end of the day, I get like a final put together of all those notes. All I need to do is I could just pick out my chat GPT while after 2 hours I say, oh, this is what I just worked on for 2 hours. And I do that throughout the day. Now I could set up an automation flow that takes that note, all those notes, puts them together, structures that, and I then sends me back the full detail of everything I worked on that day. Another automations is I could, if I want to analyze my financial records, I could take my bank statements and then send that to, of course, you might not want to use ChatGPT because your privacy of data and all that, but you could just go to make.com and tell it, oh, I want a PDF reader node. It reads it. I want to connect a particular open source model that I manage. If you're hosting your Anytime locally that I manage, I want you to read my PDF and then give me back insights and tell me where I'm make maybe spending a little bit more, do a proper analysis for me, tell me what I can do, go online, then I'll probably just add another note to go online and then do some research for me based on that. Um, yes, exactly, exactly. And then I could pull all that together such that at the end of the day, once my bank statement comes in every month, I don't have to go and do any, I don't have to look at it. It just passes through that automation flow and then gives me back the insight, maybe via text message, maybe via Telegram, maybe via email, because that's what I've set. And you can do all this with Anytime. Um, uh, and then there are many other workflows that are like peculiar to you. You want to just automate something. You want to automate something, and then you use Anytime is pretty powerful. There's agent kits in ChatGPT, or I think that's available to paid users. Um, these things give you the ability to chain AI systems together. All right. So and there's website builder. Yeah, website builder is AI Studio. Just go to Google AI Studio. You will see the build button, or you could even ask, "How do I build with AI Studio?" And then you see tools like that. There are image creation tools. There's a lot. If you just all you need to do is be able to piece together these things, and then you're pretty much good to go. In less than 2 hours, you've put together something so powerful that would have taken you before now, would have taken you probably 2 to 3 months to build or to pay, and you'd have had to pay money for it. And all that is working behind the scene. You don't even have anything, it's working on its own behind the scene. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about yet. But yeah, it exists. Then if you want to, where it gets interesting is when you want to build more customized solutions, then you might need to maybe get some more technical expertise. But you could basically put together something. You could build out Anytime workflows that will be making you money steadily, even if it's 5,000 naira every day. As far as it's solving a problem, and your solution is built the right way. Yeah. So yeah, that's I think that's the answer to your question.
Yes, fantastic, fantastic. I've just been taking notes. Thank you so, so much. I really do appreciate. And yeah, I will just circle back, try and see which of these two I can play around with, see how good it is. I'm actually like a trained full stack dev. Even finished the ELX exit program back then, and
Expose yourself to AI tools. There are new tools being created every day. Expose yourself to them. They are very powerful. They give you the power of AI at your fingertips and for free. It's even getting cheaper for those that you have to pay for. So yeah.
like, I'll really look into that. Especially these ones I've learned now, anytime, make now, uh, my Google Studio. So yeah, thank you so very much. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Ugochukwu Nwachukwu, for such a fantastic session and actually availing us a time in your very tight and busy schedule. Despite the short notice, we are really, really grateful and appreciate that.
It's my
And
pleasure.
hopefully, we look forward to future collaborations too. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. I don't know if you have any final words while we round up
Yeah.
the event.
My final words is just go ahead and create. That's what we're built to do. Go ahead and create. Go ahead and solve problems. Be on active lookout for problems in your own life and in the next person's life. And then
Mm,
try and solve them using the tools that you have available to you. And then engage people as much as possible. Go online and find experts, engage them, make experts your friend. They are open. When they do have
yes.
the time, they will respond. If they don't respond immediately, when they do have the time, they respond. Send it out, reach out to 100 experts in different fields that is uh, it's valuable to you. If at least 10 people would respond, and then they could cut your learning process by maybe a year or 10 years, and they could basically just set you on the right direction. So yeah.
Mm, yeah. Thank you so very much once again. Guys, I want us to type uh, our gratitude in the chat for Nwachukwu, our speaker. Really, really beautiful session. I didn't hear anything from Ihuoma Mama. So yeah, thank you so very much, and let's have a fantastic night. So see you next month for another.